welcome to Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast with just your host, Buddy Sotelo Esquire. I'm flying solo this week, but I actually have quite a bit of company with me, which are two of my favorite guys that I ever managed with one brain between the two of them. It is Dustin and Derek Mell, also known as the Bad Apple Twins, but it's probably been a long time since you guys were called the Bad Apples.
Oh man, you know it's been a minute, but it's tattooed on my arm.
Really? Oh wow! Wow. Well then, I mean, you didn't get that from me, but
you,
still, I'm quite honored. So anyway, God, I was just before we started the show, we were talking about the history that we have between us. I first got to know you guys at APW when you were, working with Joe Applebaumer, and Rick Luxury was, just starting out as a rookie out there. And you guys were you actually in any APW classes or anything like that? No, you.
I had signed up, but then never ended up going there.
Yeah, so why don't you guys tell me from the very start how you got involved in professional wrestling?
I mean, it's always been like in our heads and hearts for, ever since we were kids. So like, once we turned 18, we just had to find a spot. I think the first person we talked to was Joe Applebaum. And then he was like, no, don't go to APW. Let me train you. So I told Roland that I didn't want to go there. And we ended up training with Nugs. And
we're still working off that $5,000 debt.
Yeah, we are. He's chipping away at it.
Hopefully he's not charging interest.
No, it's funny. Every time we did APW, after the fact, Roland would be like, "There's fucking $20 towards your fees." You're like, "Fuck you, man."
But how did you guys first? I mean, when did you? Let's go back to the very beginning. Like, what was like the earliest wrestling you remember watching, and what made you guys want to become professional wrestlers?
I mean, like Sting and the Steiners in the early '90s or like late '80s, man. Like Luger, Flair, Sting, Steiners, Rick Rude.
I think the very first live wrestling match we went to was Sting versus Rick Rude in a cage, with Paulie Dangerously managing, and we were little stingers, so that was it, man.
Yeah.
And
so were your parents fans of wrestling, or what did they get you introduced to it?
Our dad was. He would get all the pay-per-views and watch it all, and we just ate it all up.
Did he ever think that you guys would grow up to be professional wrestlers?
I don't know. It probably crossed his mind just because we beat the crap out of each other so much.
And dare I ask, who would were you guys tied in number of times that you would beat each other?
Yeah, we would torture each other. Like, he'd beat my ass, but then I would complain that he beat my ass when he didn't beat my ass, and he would get in trouble for it. And then vice versa, like we would smack each other's faces. Like, I would smack my own face and then blame it on him.
early training on like fooling the ref type thing,
When we were grounded, we were supposed to be in our own rooms, and then we'd sneak into each other's room, and we didn't have any like TVs or anything because they took them all away. So we'd sit across from each other Indian style and just smack each other until the other one gave up.
You guys are too much. Now, what did you ever have like a serious fight between the two of you guys?
I mean, yeah, there was a few. I bit this fucker in the ass one time. I don't know what he did. I forgot what it was, but like he pissed me off, and like all I had was his ass.
He chased me into the bathroom, and I jumped into the tub thinking he's not going to chase me into the bathroom, and then
Yes. Now, did any of you guys get a submission move on the other one? And if so, which one did you get? What'd you get?
There were plenty of times we like put each other out in sleepers before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. We like the Lion Tamer. That was one of my ones I liked to do a lot.
Yeah. No, I look, you see it on TV and they say, don't do it on TV. It's like, that's the first thing you say to yourself, geez, I want to try that on my brother. Cause
yeah, that's why they're telling you not to do that on TV. They're like, oh, try this.
Good suggestion. I wasn't thinking about it, but now that you suggested it, we will give it a try.
Yeah, you think if they didn't put the warning, more people would not try?
Probably.
Like,
damn, that looks dangerous, but they told us not to try, so we're gonna try.
Now, did you guys go to a lot of live wrestling shows when you were growing up?
Not a lot. I can only think of maybe
a few WCWs,
4.
And then
I don't think we ever went to a WWF.
No, way later.
No, did you guys grow up out here? Did you guys grow up out here?
We were born in Oregon, but then when we were 4 or 5, we moved out here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there weren't a lot of WCW shows though out here. We had more AWA stuff in the 80s, and then I guess maybe later when I wasn't here, I lived in San Diego in the mid 80s and early 90s. So I probably missed out on the later WCW shows that they had out here.
The one we went to was probably 93, I'm guessing.
That's when I was out of town.
I remember it was a build-up for that 92 or 90. What was that? 91 or 92 War Games, where it was Sting and the Steiners and Pillman.
I think it was 91.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It made an impression, obviously.
No, totally. That War Games was
that was one of our favorite matches ever. It probably still is, man. Just because
Sting, the Steiners, and Flying Brian Pillman. Are you kidding me? As a tag team against Sid Vicious, Barry Windham, and then Larry Zbyszko and Ric Flair. That's money, give or take.
Now, was that the one with the 3 rings connected to each other?
Rings with the cages on it, and that was the one where Sid Vicious knocked out Brian Pillman with the power bomb.
It's pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy stuff. So, what was the moment where you guys said, we are now going to become professional wrestlers? In your minds, what is the time that you guys really said to yourself, this is really going to happen?
Well, we did some stupid backyard wrestling for a little while. And then I think
we got hurt a bunch, and we were like, we need to fucking train to be real. Because, we can't keep cracking our heads open for nothing.
It was funny, we did a lot, backyard wrestling, but we didn't know jack shit about any indie wrestling going on around there. I'm sure there wasn't too much besides APW, BTW.
No, it was pretty obsolete back then. You couldn't find indie wrestling. I think one time when we were growing up in high school, we found an APW show that was in Antioch, and that was the only indie wrestling we've ever heard of. We didn't even know about indie wrestling at all.
There was Incredibly Strange Wrestling.
Yes, that too. Yes,
and we were too young for that. I don't think we would have been able to.
But, and we'll talk about this later, I really think Hoodslam is a tribute, even though you might not intend it to be, but it is a tribute to Incredibly Strange Wrestling. It's the evolution of it.
It's the evolved version of Incredibly Strange, no doubt.
Absolutely, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm trying to go chronologically as we move forward. So from APW, or the shows that you did with APW, where did that lead you guys to?
What did that what?
Where did that lead you to? Did you work for other feds then once you started doing
APW, we really didn't see anything else after that, man. From what I remember of that match, I feel like it was maybe Vinny Massaro's first match ever.
I don't think it was
one of his first matches, but he was really innovative and his moves were cool. And then you had Modest and Donovan, and
Jardy was on the show too.
And this was the first time Dilip Singh came out.
Was I managing then? Was I managing him?
I think you were.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then that wasn't his first show, because he had worked a few shows before that as the Gigolo, Vinny Massaro, with Mark Smith as a face, and Mark Smith didn't get over as a face, and nor was Vinny. So they turned him heel by making him my quote-unquote cousin. And that was the storyline that happened. And then we put Mark under the mask as Super Destroyer 2000. And that, to me, was my favorite tag team until you guys. And then you guys still are in my hearts as the best tag team that I ever managed. Well, you're the only champions I ever managed as tag team champions.
Appreciate that.
So was your title with us, with me, the first title that you guys won?
Besides me and DJ Riz winning like the SPW tag titles.
But I mean you as brothers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, I'm really honored about that, actually.
No, totally. Yeah, you were the first person to manage me and Ricky right here.
Manage us to gold.
You guys were, and I've worked with a lot of tag teams. Okay, I have. I mean, I've worked with Christopher Daniels, and I've worked with B.J. Whitmer, and I've worked with McGinnis. And you guys have been two of the best wrestlers that I ever worked with. You guys were great as a tag team. I really enjoyed working with you guys, and you were very professional. And, when it came to actually booking stuff in the ring, I thought you guys had head and shoulders above other guys that I worked with as far as your in-ring storyline booking. How did you get that instinct to do that?
I mean, I feel like we automatically have the twin tuition, which makes us, basically kind of think what the other one's going to think. But at the same time, I don't know, man, this is a book. This is a novel. It's a story, and you have to tell that story. And my big thing right now, training our students, is I'm the psychology guy. If the shit doesn't make sense, why the fuck are you doing it? Yeah. No, why are you bumping for this small little kid? That doesn't make sense. Don't ever do that.
And then definitely I want to say, training back then, we were really solid on our basics and our bumps. And we seen that everybody else was just doing hell of moves just to do hell of moves. And we were like, we're just going to do 2 moves and yell at everybody. Because no one works the fucking crowd, man. And that's how you're going to get butts and seats, is bringing people into it.
Yeah, let alone get your own faces out there. You want people to remember you. That's your main goal in this business, man, is to put this over, put that over. Because at the end of the day, no one else is paying you. It's the fans, man. So if the fans love it and they like it, they're gonna pay for it, and they're gonna buy your merch, they're gonna buy your shit, they're gonna come buy tickets to the next show. So put your face over, man. Put yourself over. That's my thing.
Absolutely.
Cool moves are cool and all, but save it.
Tell a story
over a 10-match span. Do 2 moves a match instead of 10. It's ridiculous.
Well, nobody wants to sell,
Yeah, nobody wants to sell.
Well, not anymore.
Selling, and in the day of post kayfabe, it's harder to sell the simple stuff.
You're like, Canadian Destroyer, I want you to get up and then feed in for my hot tag, and then I'm gonna give you a big fucking
450 splash
rope, and you're gonna fly to the outside, and I'm gonna hit you with a dive, and then I'm gonna roll you in and hit you with a snap mirror. It's over.
Yes, with a stump puller. You'll make them submit with a stump puller. There you go. So so let's talk about California Championship Wrestling. Now, who approached you guys to work CCW? What was the origin with that?
I mean, I think
Vinny, I think.
I think that no, I don't think. I think this is maybe before Vinny. I think this was it might have been Vinny.
It might have been Joe. I think it might have been Joe, because Joe worked one of our shows earlier.
Yeah, JJ was doing some ring announcing for us also. So I feel like,
yeah. Now, when you say us, is that referring back to Devil Mountain or
No, Brawl, but he
Brawl.
also did Devil Mountain and other things. Yeah.
Yeah. There was different stuff.
Yeah, no, bro. I remember when there weren't any indie feds for a long time, and then APW and BTW sort of had their rivalry, but then you had Brawl and you had Devil Mountain in addition, and then suddenly it was hard to book guys for shows because you had and that in SPW shows going on more regularly. They were going on.
Yeah, and that's when we were coming up, man. Like, we were lucky to have 4 or 5 different companies. Now there's fucking 20, 25. And you get to pick and choose, and I don't know, tons of them are shit, but a lot of them are, some of them are good, and
we tell our students how spoiled they are to have all these options these days.
Yeah, it's true, but it also keeps from a lot of big shows from happening because you have so many little shows, it's getting over 100 now. If you can get over 100 to an audience, you've done a really good job. Whereas back in the day, we were working shows that were like 400 or 500, and those were you'd make money off of those. Whereas the 100-person shows gets a little bit harder to unless you've got a setup like you guys have over there. But what did they tell you when they said you were going to work with me as a manager?
When did
I think it was Vinny. He was like, "Oh, I want you guys to work with Buddy, and you guys are going to be in the the syndicate or Sotelo syndicate or whatever it was." And we're like, "Fuck yeah, dude," because we love being heels. And the Bad Apple thing was our original gimmick, so it was really cool to see those characters and also do a heel run with a manager that gave a fuck. So it was fun.
Now, I know you guys have been in wild matches, and I've been into some wild matches too, but nothing else matched what it was like when you guys, for the Super Slam anniversary of CCW for its first year, took on the Reno Scum. Do you remember that for the titles? Where you guys took on Luster and Thornstowe, and they were managed by Shane Atrocity or Doc Atrocity, Shane Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
That was one of the most wild matches I've ever had in my entire life. That was crazy. Do you remember? First of all, it was 100 degrees in there, and inside that little warehouse thing that we had.
And one of these days we got to do a watch along with that. We'll do a watch along.
I love that. You'll have to hit Charles up because he has all the tapes of everything. Good luck on. Apparently he's still floating around somewhere, but if we could get him to actually cough up some of those tapes, that would be something else, because that was a crazy match. And then do you remember that that Luster choked me out on the floor, and then Shane grabbed the entire cooler of ice and dumped it all over me while I was lying on the floor, and that was so well booked. That match was one of my all-time favorites because it was just out of control from the opening bell. You guys went at it. You went at it full on. We had a really good crowd.
The tournament, right? It was the tournament?
Yes. And we had the Portuguese Hall. And so we had a good crowd. We had about 300 people there. It was really, really tremendous. And you guys went all out for it. And we won the titles. And it was just an incredible evening for the fans there. I really wanted to get a second chance to thank you guys about, getting me my first tag team title, because that meant a lot to me. I've done solo champions before, but, I've always, Captain Lou Albano is a guy that really was close to my heart, as a manager, and he was such a tag team specialist. So to be able to say that I at least got one tag team to a major championship was a major accomplishment for me. Now, before we move on, I also wanted to talk to you guys and ask you about Trent Hemorrhage and D-Unit. And, those were two guys that I never got a chance to work with. And whatever happened to those two guys?
Trent Hammerage, he evolved, and then he turned into a Suburban Commando member, and he was T-Rent.
That's right. I do remember that.
He got overlooked, and he was rejected for a while. And then, he fell into the wrong crowd, and then he got picked up by his twin brother. And then that's what happened to Trent Hammerage.
And then, the Commandos fucking tore up the NorCal scene for a long ass time. And then, when Riz passed, we started doing Hoodslam stuff, and we're like, dude, the Stoner Brothers are just like us turned up a little bit. So we're just gonna do that everywhere. So.
Would you ever go retro though and bring back either Trent or the Suburban Commandos?
I mean, maybe for like gimmicky matches, like we sometimes like to do. We'll do like student shows and stuff over here, and we'll have like some of our students like be some of our former gimmicks to wrestle us or something like that. Like, the Stoner Brothers versus the Suburban Commandos versus the Bad Apples. All three different tag teams. But like, we all have the same moves.
Let's take a moment and pour the 40 out on the curb, both for DJ Riz. He was, I only worked a few shows with him in CCW, but he was a class act guy, really funny. He was a really funny dude, really honest, salt of the earth kind of guy, worked hard, in the matches he was in. And it's sad that he's gone. He was one of the earliest, unfortunately, wrestling deaths that I knew, other than, unfortunately, Crash Holly, when Crash Holly died. But I hadn't worked as many shows. I only worked 1 or 2 shows with Holly. I worked a number of shows with DJ Riz. And do you have any thoughts to say about DJ?
I mean, he's with us every day, man. Every match we do, we named our finish after him. We do the Riz Bomb. That's our finish. So, like,
that's because we're throwing people to the heavens today, and like he's giving them a little touch of love before they hit the ground and hit that.
Wow, that's nice. And then I don't know what to say about Virgil. If you'd given me a list of 10,000 people and you said that I would outlive, I wouldn't have put Virgil on the list as somebody that I, at age 55, just turned age 55, would have outlived Virgil. The guy was a perfect picture of health, lived the clean and narrow life, God-fearing, and humble and talented as all get out, and just super positive, gave 1,000% on every match, whether there were 10 people in the audience or 1,000 people in the audience. Virgil Flynn was somebody that I can't believe, even today, I can't believe he's gone. What are your guys' thoughts?
Virgil was unlike any other man. Like, he was a family guy, man, and he cared about his family, and his family is beautiful. I love them to this day, and like Virgil will always be there, just like Riz.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how like much they were like alike in our lives. Like Riz was like our road dog for Hella Day, and then he passed. Like we knew for a while, and Virgil and Sheik were our road dogs for a long time, and then shit, man, Virgil's funny as fuck, and Riz was funny as fuck. It sucks, man.
Both amazing athletes, and like
I think both their deaths definitely changed like us for sure. Because like I don't know, I cry over stupid ass shit these days now.
I agree.
Like before, like
I'm a man. And, like, some things get you emotional, man, and like you have things that like trigger you, and those two guys, man, they trigger the fuck out of both of us, and like we love the fuck out of all of them and their families till this day, till the day we die, man. That's
And as long as we live, their legacies are going to go on, because we're going to tell all our students and everybody that I know about Riz's work and how he was and how he's like one of our best friends. And same about Virgil, man. Like they both were great workers, and like you could show any of their matches and learn something from it. So definitely.
I look back on some of his work for CCW, and I'm just like, man, why didn't Vince pick him up? He had every reason to be a star in the WWE. Not that you guys didn't deserve to be star. In fact, I'm surprised Vince. He had a thing for twins, so I'm surprised he never gave you guys a shot. In fact, I want to bring up now the 2007 Battle Royale that you guys were in at the Cow Palace. And that event, you guys want to like recall some of what that was all about? How'd you hear about it, by the way?
Okay. I remember it being a complete clusterfuck.
Yes,
that's for sure.
I remember a lot of famous wrestlers coming in the locker room and basically talking shit about the promoter and saying this is gonna be some bullshit. Hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys got protection on because you were all getting fucked tonight.
Vaseline. Hope
Yeah,
you put some Vaseline
all
in.
bad, and then
but it was actually like, I don't know, that was our first time like being in a locker room and then seeing like big name guys come in, and so it could have been like a huge success, but for some reason it wasn't. It didn't draw. But I don't know. We were so green, so it was fun to us.
yeah, like we went to work at Cow Palace in front of maybe it was fucking 350 people.
Yeah, about 400. Yeah, it was about 400 fans.
Yeah, exactly. But it was we were green, so like this was a big, it was a big stepping stone for us to like work that big venue and like with a lot of talent on the card to like. I don't know if these guys are watching us, but like if they were, hey, maybe we'd turn some heads. I don't know.
I gotta ask, how was that Battle Royale actually booked?
You
Okay.
know what? They told everybody that was in it, we're putting over this one MMA guy at the end, so like don't
throw him out.
Don't throw him out. Don't hurt him.
Yeah.
And everything else was up in the air, man. And like Chavo Senior was in it, and like a bunch of other people, and they were just like,
Blue Meanie was in it. Wasn't the Blue Meanie in it?
Who?
Wasn't the Blue Meanie in it?
Probably. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rock Riddle was in it, and
They just let anybody in it. They put Tom in it.
Tom was in it, yeah.
First eliminated.
Raider Mysterio.
First eliminated.
Wow. So yeah, and I have to say this to you guys is that you did not warn me adequately about what life with twins would be like. You only gave me a snapshot of it, and then I wound up having twins after working with you guys. So I don't know. You guys must have cursed me or found a way to make sure that it wasn't enough that I worked with the Ballards, managed you guys, and grew up with all sorts of twins and had twins.
You didn't.
It's the bad apple.
You didn't get enough, man. You didn't get enough.
No.
You wanted more, and you got more.
Yeah.
As I said, you owe your parents an apology. Just for now that I have the perspective of how difficult it is to raise up kids. But twins. But they are wonderful. My kids are really wonderful. They're not wrestling fans though. It skips a generation, I guess, or something like that. So now, tell me, after CCW closed, it was a couple of years off, and then you guys came up with Stoner U and Hoodslam. Can you tell me about how that all evolved?
Man, it
was desolate out here. You know how it was, man. Like there wasn't a lot of places booking people, and like I don't know, BTW I think was like the biggest draw out here at the time, and like
and they would only book BTW guys. Like I don't know, for some reason they never even touched us, and we worked there actually eventually, but like we had before Hoodslam.
Yeah, we had Brawl, and like we were booking a lot of outside talent from Brawl, and like we got to know a lot of the outside talent from different companies, and basically, like, I don't know, Sam had a vision quest, and she like made it reality, and like put together this company called Hoodslam that like was basically all the rejects from all these companies that were getting like no bookings, and all of us made gold of it, and like here we are today, you know, drawing fucking 2,000 people at an outside venue.
Yeah, we started like in a warehouse about this size, and drew,
100 people.
15 the first show, 30 or 40 the second show, but it kept going up until like we had to not do shows in that warehouse anymore. And we had to start doing them at the Metro. And then the pandemic killed the Metro, which sucks.
Yeah, because
But-
we were drawing 1,000 people in that Metro every Friday night almost, man. And then, pandemic happened, and we had our first show back a couple months back, and a year and a half ago at a street fair in Oakland, and man, we had like over 2,000 people there. It was amazing.
It wasn't a street fair. It was just Hoodslam.
Yeah.
But it was at like the abandoned train station in Oakland. Yeah, 2,000 people. Crazy.
How did you organize something like that? That's amazing.
The people at the Metro organized the venue, and then they just booked the show.
Yeah, we have a really good relationship with a lot of the venue places around here and like in Oakland. So like, yeah, we have definitely get a good
Then Hoodslam's just got a good
Platform.
name. People that don't know about it, want to know about it, are curious, or like, not a lot of hate or animosity towards it so much anymore like it was at first. Because at first people would be like, don't go to Hoodslam, they're unsafe. They do drugs and, fucking
drink
alcohol and
Come on,
bleed
man.
all over the place. It's like,
Everyone
what?
does, dude. Like, we're just here for the party, and we're here to make you party. And that's it.
I always felt like Hoodslam was Incredibly Strange Wrestling meets South Park. It was kind of like that same kind of like South Park attitude, as you didn't take anything seriously. You kind of looked to find a way to offend everybody, which is, I think, a hard thing to do. But if you can pull it off, it's hilarious.
Yeah, but the whole motto is fuck the fans. And when the fans chant fuck the fans, they know they're in on the whole thing. So they're just like going along for the ride.
Yeah,
They know what's up.
when we have like these yearly fucking at the end of the year, we usually do a memorial tournament for like pretty much whoever's fucking up the worst in life at the time. So it's like, Cat Williams and Brock Lesnar when he fucking got released from the Vikings and like botched his whole situation. And then there was like Dixie Carter when she fucked up big, and then
Jeff Hardy
Memorial, and they're like
all these kind of inside jokes. They're
Yes.
kind of inside jokes.
They're letting everybody in on the joke, and like I think people like that because they're like, oh, they're not trying to fuck on me, they're just trying to like let us all in on the joke and like have fun with it. And I think that's where Hoodslam like prevailed over other companies because you're not trying to watch boredom with some boring storyline or some.
Yeah, it's not like Billy Blue Tights versus Jimmy Red Trunks, and they could have a 5-star match, but if like they're not interacting, there's no character work going on or storyline, then like who cares, But like Hoodslam, I feel like is the first place around here in a long time to do like, I don't know, it was like a 2-year, 3-year long storyline that like finally paid off recently, and like the fans like popped for it because like a lot of them are just like OG fans that have been here since the beginning, and then it just trickles and a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Why do you think Oakland makes a good audience for Hoodslam? Why do you think, if you did the same thing, I think in, Piedmont, it wouldn't get over. Or if you did the same thing in Santa Clara, it probably wouldn't have the same fan following. Why do you think it's bigger in Oakland?
I think it's about we have our diehard fans, right? And there's like I'm gonna say maybe 50 of them at the show at all times, mainly. But then everybody else, they're like word of mouth. I've heard this was really cool. I want to go here. I'm gonna check it out. And then like literally like Hoodslam shows are pretty much like 50-50 of like people who've never been there and people who have been there, because they've heard the rumors, they've heard like things about it, and they want to go to have fun and just have a good time.
Yeah, we started doing these shows at the Crybaby in Oakland, which is right by the Fox Theater. And the last two we've sold out, and it was like, I don't know, I think capacity is like 300 or 400 there.
It's like 450.
But it's such a small venue, so it's kind of nice, like going back to like a more of an intimate setting, more than like an outside, like hella big venue where you can't like see everybody. I don't know if that makes sense. That might sound
no, that's good.
So tell me, like, what do you feel is your guys' defining match? What is the best match that you guys as a tag team have had, and that you guys as individuals have had?
I mean, we've had a lot of. In my head, I feel like we've had a lot of best matches. I can name some opponents that I think our best matches have been against, and like Choopy and Virgil's one. Sheik and Anton as one with the caution, and then like I know we've had a lot of good matches with the Scum also, and then
even like a bunch with the Ballards too, which I'd like to have one more with them. But
in my head, I feel like the Scum hasn't got our best, because right now we're at our we're at 200, man. Like we have a lot of things going on up here, and it's a lot of good shit. So if you get to see us wrestle these days, you're in for a treat, because we're not going back old school and doing like basic shit. We're like
changing the game. We're trying to change the tag team.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff going on.
So now that my kids have left the room, let's talk about weed. So what are you guys smoking right now?
Right now I got some of these dabs, which if you don't know what dabs are,
yeah, I do, but I'm so old fashioned.
Concentrated marijuana.
Yep, and it's just like pressed and broken down, and then this is like some diamond stuff.
I got a bowl of some good purples.
Good purples.
Now, do you guys get it from a dispensary? You guys, people that make it yourself or make it themselves?
Okay, well, we go to a few dispensaries. We're sponsored by High Times, which is tight.
Yeah, how did you get the High Times sponsorship?
So I work at Kiva, which is they make edibles, and I'm a cook over there. So I cook Starburst chews, and the High Times place is like right around the corner. So I started going there, and a bunch of them are Hoodslam fans. They're like, "Oh, Stoner Brothers," and then I talked to the manager, and then I talked to the bigger manager, and got it going.
Now, how many interviews does it actually encourage for you guys to smoke out on?
How many what?
How many interviews have you guys done where it's actually encouraged for you guys to
fuck.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. I'm glad that you guys are being yourselves, because
I mean, besides we had our own podcast for a while too, where like we would basically bring people on and smoke a lot of pot, and like sometimes do like certain games with pot related stuff or
pop culture
things, and stuff like that. It'd be fun.
I ate a block of cheese once. A whole block. I tried to eat a whole block of
It
Tillamook
was not a
cheese.
good idea.
It was not good.
You guys are still nuts. You guys are still nuts. You still crack me the hell up, which is great. So tell me, what's the future going on with Hoodslam? What do you guys have planned?
Well, the next couple months, we're starting to do First Fridays again, and those are going to be outside shows. We just
Right, I think 12th and Broadway
12th and Broadway
on the first Fridays.
and then we're also doing shows at Crybaby, and I think we got one. Is DNA? Are we doing one at DNA
I
coming
think
up?
we are, yes. And then we also are doing some Stoner U shows at this church called
Stoner U shows at this church in Oakland.
yes.
I don't. They're not called Stoner U shows, but like they're using the ring and a bunch of our students. So it's called Urban Rumble. And then we're going to do a couple shows for them in the next few months. And what we're doing a Hood Slam in Tahoe. What is that
Coming up.
coming up?
Yeah.
September.
Wow, how'd you get that show booked?
We've done a couple. Did we do one in Tahoe before, or a couple in Reno?
Couple in Reno.
Couple in Reno, and then I think the Tahoe venue hit Chic up, and and then that's how that came about, I think. Or Choopy, somehow Choopy got a hold of it. Here we are, Hood Slam in Tahoe coming up.
I think it's at the Crystal Ballroom, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Crystal Bay Room.
Crystal Bay Casino.
Amazing. No, that's great. No, I mean, it's great to see you guys, continuing to get booked. Now, are you finding that, now that you guys are getting on the older side of the wrestling coin, that the physical side of it is catching up to you? Is that an issue for either of you guys right now?
Oh yeah, we have our days, man.
We train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and some Sundays, and then wrestle. Some Fridays and most Saturdays. So, yeah, we're sore, man. I get days where I'm like, I need to take like a day off of training to like recoup a little bit.
Yeah, luckily it's myself and Ricky and Anton Voorhees is one of our head trainers. So like there's three of us there usually at all times. So like, if one of us get like a little head sprung or whatever.
If I like Sin Cara my finger and like jam it really bad one day, I could be like, I'm gonna take the day off.
But like also like if none of us get there, we also have guest trainers that like have been around a long time, and like Nugs is still coming over and training. Like Joe Applebomber, he's almost in the best shape of his life right now, and like he's out there coming over and training, and like
and taking arm jacks.
He's like, "Oh, I'm your student now. let me tell you, I'm your student, cuzzy." And that's what we do, man. We have like over 25 students right now, and we keep getting more. And we've put a couple in the WWE. Mansoor.
Who have you guys? Yeah, who have you guys sent over to the WWE?
Mansoor, who with us was Manny Faberino, and he started when right when he could sign up when he was 18. Even before that, he was like helping do ring crew and stuff at Hoodslam at like 17.
Yeah, kid was a natural, man, and he wanted it from the get-go. And there was this Saudi thing that they did with WWE, so like he got his in over there, and then now he's undefeated in Saudi Arabia, and like he's won the biggest Royal Rumble ever, and he's also like now he's doing this Max Dupree male model gimmick, and it's fucking over his shit.
So funny.
And then you got Shotzi Blackheart, who's fucking a badass of her own, and like I don't have much to say. Like Shotzi speaks for herself, man. Like she's a dope ass human being that like loves this business, and like will fucking shit, eat, and breathe this
And
business.
it's kind of
And
crazy. Like so she had signed up at APW, and then Roland passed away, and then so she had nowhere to go, so she ended up training with us because of that. But then I don't know, like she was a natural right away, and then she did a bunch of Hood Slam shows, and that's where she really like honed her craft, and then she started traveling all over the place, and now she's up top.
Have you guys sat back and thought for a second that with Roland gone and with Kirk White dying, that you and Marcus Mack are the senior wrestling promoters for the entire San Francisco Bay Area?
that's pretty crazy to
I
think
mean,
about.
other than Gabe Ramirez down in San Jose.
We don't count Gabe. I mean, we can count him, I guess.
Mike Rain is there too, I think.
I mean, but like, no, Bay Area, man. Like,
Yeah, not Bay
I
Area.
feel it, dude. It's pretty crazy to think about that. Like, yes, us and
Marcus.
Marcus are like, the guys that grew up on the same shit and like went together through the same shit that are like now in the same shit. And I feel like, yeah, Marcus is just about to throw another APW show coming up soon, and I'm pretty sure we're on that too. April 3rd, September 3rd. September 3rd.
Yeah, April might be a little bit of a delay.
I'm sure they'll
Scotty
have
had a little too much of the purples.
It shows that stuff works. That's a good advertisement for it. If you forget what month it is, it must be.
APW coming up with a show coming up soon, and we're out here doing as much as we possibly can, and like trying to put out some new talent, and that's our goal these days, man. Like we want to make wrestlers that want to be wrestlers that give a fuck about this business just as much as we do, because if you don't, I don't really want you around. Like if you're a half-asser, or like you're consistent and you're content with where your training's at, then maybe you don't need to be here. Maybe you need to go somewhere else. So like take that shit serious, because I take this shit as serious as a motherfucker.
Now that I can say about you guys is that it's funny because you guys have an amazing sense of humor. You're funny as all hell, but when it comes to your ring product, you guys take that very seriously. And the booking inside the ring, as I said, there's very few people other than, to be honest with you, one of the other best ring bookers that I knew of is unfortunately Boom Boom Kamini.
Boom Boom.
Yeah. That's another guy, that we have to pour the 40 out on the curb for, because he was the guy I managed before you guys, and we were Sheik, Ali Boom Boom, and the Iron Sheik Kamini, and we were trying to do that, whole praying to Iraq stuff.
Well,
and then
you remember Boom Boom? Like when we first started coming up, he was good friends with Coach Nugs and Applebaum, so like we got to hang out with him a bunch before, like
He was a funny dude.
he had his bad days, and it's at least I'm grateful for at least getting to hang out with him a little bit.
That's what's great about you guys, is that you've accomplished so much, but you're very humble as to what you have accomplished. You don't seem, like you've never big timed anybody in all the time that I worked with you guys. You've always been down to earth. You were cool to fans that wanted autographs, and I know that your reputation working with your students has been great, especially the success that they've had. So where do you see Hoodslam going from here? What's the future for Hoodslam? Stoner, you.
I mean, the future for Hoodslam is, irrelevant, because it's its own thing, and like it's gonna get over no matter what. Future for Stoner U, like we're gonna start doing some dojo shows coming up here, and we're gonna keep producing more talent. But us, man, our main goal, man, like has never changed, man. Make your opponent look as good as possible, and that's your job. And if you're not good at your job, get the fuck out the business.
No, that's that. You have standards. You know, it's good to have standards and to hold to those, because that's what keeps the product better. It's, you know, with the WWE, you know, there's no real standards going on as far as, you know, what's a fun match to watch. And you know, I don't know if you watched SummerSlam. I just caught a little bit of, you know, bits and pieces of it off the internet, and it seemed like a freaking car wreck. It just, you know,
I watched it, and there was some good and bad, and like I enjoyed the main event with the whole Brock Lesnar pulling the ring upside down and fucking shit like that, which was a lot, you know, different. In my head, I went into that match that Lesnar was gonna get pinned by some. You remember Big Show getting pinned by the forklift in the 10 count?
Oh gosh, yeah, back in WCW
Yes,
days.
this is what I thought was gonna happen with Lesnar, and then he brought off the forklift, so I was like, oh, he's definitely getting pinned with the forklift. And then yeah, they did some different shit, and like you know, it was different. I thought it was entertaining as fuck.
What were your thoughts?
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the main?
No, I didn't.
No, the main was the best, I think.
So
Everything else was there.
I don't watch anything up top unless, like, you know, I don't know. I may be biased, but I just watch Shotzi and Manny's stuff. I like
Manny had
fast forward.
Fucking good cameo in there. They're putting over this water that they were putting over for the SummerSlam or whatever, and he was doing like a shit where they're just pouring water all over themselves and like doing model poses. It was pretty over.
What wrestling do you guys watch, or do you try? You don't have time for it?
I always watch WCW main event, like early mid 90s, or Saturday night early midnight. I just like I like the squash matches for one, and then also like they always have like a good little banger at the end, whatever, you know, whoever it may be, like Barry Windham versus Pillman or something like that, or but then that's where I get all my ideas. I just take like old stuff I see and then tweak it.
What's old is new again.
Yep.
No, totally, man.
Yep.
Like not enough people go back and watch these old matches, especially like, dude, like he's saying, like those early 90s WCW matches, they're golden. And like there's so many good things in there.
There's some
like,
bad too.
You know,
Like,
fucking, Jim Powers. You could probably get a spot from Jim Powers or some shit like that. Or
how about Jimmy?
maybe a little. Or like fucking Max Payne. You know, get some Max Payne spots. You know, fucking watch your shit. Do your homework, man. That's the bottom line. Do your homework.
You weren't really helping put it over that much.
You know,
Max Payne, Jim Powers.
You know, it's all right.
Hey, have you guys seen the show Heels?
No, we don't have stars. That's like one of the subscriptions.
I watched like the first like 3 episodes.
What you think?
You know what? You have to watch the whole season, because it actually gets better and better as it moves forward. But it just made me think of you guys, because it's about, you know, 2 brothers that are running an indie fed, you know, in the South, where things are much, you know, bigger and people are more into it than here in NorCal. But you know, I'm proud of you guys. I'm really proud of what you guys have accomplished, and I hope that Hoodslam continues to be a big deal in the Bay Area. When I read about you guys, in fact, you guys were on KQED, right? You had that. Can you tell me what that was about? Because unfortunately, I apologize. I wanted to see it, but the Warriors were, you know, in Game 4 of the series. And I'm also a huge Warriors fan, so I had to make a choice, and I didn't watch the KQED thing. So can you explain what that was all about for just a minute?
I mean, you can watch it on YouTube. It is on YouTube now, but they wanted to produce a wrestling show, but then they did some like segments where it was like Jerry Springer-ish, where like, you know, someone's in the guys with a microphone in the live audience, like explaining what the history of wrestling, and then asking the audience, you know, they're asking some questions to some of the wrestlers, and so they wanted us to completely break kayfabe, and then we're like, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, they were like, we want you guys to go out there and
demonstrate some moves, but then these guys are gonna come out and challenge you to a match. And I'm like, I'm not gonna like show you show the work and then work. That's fucking dumb.
Yeah. So
basically just put it over our school and like, oh, you want to see us? I'll chop you. You want me to see you? And he's like, no, don't, please don't chop me. And then like, yeah, then the heels came out and like we worked the heels and like it was good. You can still go on the KQD website and watch it on there. It's still on there with YouTube.
I will check it out. I didn't realize it was on there, but I will check it out. So we have just a couple minutes left. By the way, I can't believe that it's been like an hour because you guys are just it's been almost like 10 years since we hung out, I think, last, or maybe longer. So, I do kind of miss you guys, and I hope, when you get things, and I went through some other stuff. I broke my hip in 2016, and I was walking around with a cane for a year and a half. So, and then COVID and all that stuff. But now that I'm back in shape and you guys are back in shape, I'd love to come to a Hoodslam event and just watch it. Or if you ever wanted me to do a class on how to cut promos, I'm always available to you guys. But
it's funny, we have this manager that's training with us, and man, he should be you, but he's like, he doesn't know how to like bark or talk loud, or like he doesn't. Well, I don't know. Explain it.
He's just so quiet and like timid and humble, and like doesn't know how to come out of his shell. But he like really wants to be this like Bobby Heenan type manager, but like he's just like so quiet. It's crazy.
And he's got a look of like a shitbag, like, oh, I hate that guy, kind of, So
I have that thing going for me too. So while we have a couple minutes left, go ahead and promote everything you want to promote. Give us some social media links, how people can follow you guys or check you out on social media.
Yep. Stoner Brothers. You can follow us on social media at Twitter, Stoner Bros FTF. The Real Stoner Brothers on Instagram. We got tons of bookings coming up where you could check us out a lot in Oakland.
Yeah, man.
Which will be on our social media.
Hoodslam, August 5th.
There you go.
August 6th, we got the church show in Oakland. And then August 20th, we're at Next Level and out in Yuba City-ish. And then the 28th, we're back at Hoodslam at the Crybaby.
Yep.
September 2nd, we're also at Hoodslam. September 3rd, we're doing a Canna Pro show and also APW.
Canna Pro is going to be in Oakland at Harborside. And
wow, that's an exciting schedule. It's an exciting schedule, guys. That's really impressive. And you guys have just really. Well, I got, as a closing comment, I got to say, you may have grown older, but you haven't grown up, and I think that's a compliment.
Thank you.
From me to you guys. And I think if you keep thinking young and thinking, about the things that make you guys happy and pursue that, then you guys will continue to be successful and be able to provide wrestling that the fans love.
Appreciate
that. People need to live that Jeffrey the Draft lifestyle more often,
Yeah, man.
Don't grow up.
Where are your Toys R Us?
Always be Toys R Us kids.
You guys are the best. It is so wonderful to get back in touch with you after all this time. And hopefully we won't be strangers, and we'll have you back on the show when you got, maybe for the Canna Pro thing or something like that. We're always happy to help promote, the stuff that you have going on.
We'll pull you out of retirement one of these days and have you manage us.
Yeah.
Just one thing. No bumps, man. No bumps. I would talk about selling.
Man. Don't worry.
Yeah, I got.
His Mike Leno will not fave us. So.
No, exactly. Okay, guys. Well, that's it for this week, and we really appreciate having you on. We'll see everybody next week. Good night, everyone.
Peace.